Tansei, I'm Chris Nachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. The federal government has agreed to provide an advance payment of $30 million to the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation for land Canada failed to protect. Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation Chief Claire Sue and Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Gary Anandasangari announced the agreement over the weekend. The claim dates back to 1820 when Canada surrendered and sold more than 10,000 acres of the First Nations reserve land within Treaties 22 and 23. Both sides have been in negotiating since 2022. The $30 million will be applied against a future resolution of the First Nations specific claims. In a statement, Chief Claire Sue said, "We see this advance payment as a good faith gesture by Canada and as evidence of its seriousness to finally settle this 205-year-old land claim. Negotiations are making good progress, and it is our hope that a final agreement can be reached that can be voted on by our membership late this year or in early 2026. Since 2020, 213 claims have been resolved by the federal government at close to $13.17 billion in compensation for First Nations. The family of the late Gloria Gladu says they are overwhelmed with emotions after hearing that the man who killed their loved one has been released from prison. In 2015, 72-year-old Grant Sneesby stabbed Gloria Gladu multiple times before wrapping her body in plastic and storing it in a trailer. Gladu's remains were later found in rural Manitoba almost 3 years later by undercover RCMP officers. Sneesby was sentenced in 2022 for 11 years after being convicted of manslaughter. He was credited for 7 years for time in pretrial custody. Sneesby was granted statutory release in early February. Under Canadian law, federal offenders who have served 2/3 of their sentence must be freed under statutory release. First Nation, Inuit, and Métis survivors of forced or coerced sterilization are meeting in Gatineau, Quebec later this week to share their experiences with the Survivors Circle for Reproductive Justice. The meeting will take place in Gatineau from March 7th to the March 9th. The event will bring together survivors, physicians, academics, therapists, knowledge keepers, and families from across the country for 3 days of healing and to learn about the work of the Survivors Circle and reproductive justice in Canada. There are also plans to address racism within Canada's healthcare system. A 2022 report has found more than 20 Indigenous women have experienced forced or coerced sterilization in Canada's healthcare system. However, ongoing lawsuits have stated that number could be much higher. APTN News will also be there to bring you updates. Last week, a fire in a Northern Ontario First Nation has claimed the life of a 4-year-old boy. Anishinaabe Police says the fire happened last Tuesday in the northwestern Ontario community of Sandy Lake First Nation. The house was fully engulfed by the time fire crews arrived. 2 adults were able to escape. The body of the child was discovered later the next day. The MPP, whose riding includes Sandy Lake, says people living in First Nations are 5 times more likely to die in a fire.
The fire went up really fast, and that's it's a fairly new building, fairly new house, and it just really went fast. And I think the team, the fire response team, didn't even have no time to be able to respond because it just went up so fast. And so that's it's very tragic, and it just seems over and over again. And in the riding of Kiwetnuga, it's something that we keep on seeing happening. It's unacceptable.
In January of 2022, 3 children died in a house fire in the same First Nation. Mamakwa says the community needs proper infrastructure and training to prevent future tragedies. It's being hailed as a victory for Métis rights in Saskatchewan, as a Supreme Court of Canada decision will allow the Métis Nation Saskatchewan to continue challenging the province legally. The legal battle is over the failure to consult the Métis over the issuing of the uranium permits in that province. APTN video journalist Rachel May has more on how this decision will impact their ongoing court case.
A quote from the court that really struck me was, court procedures should facilitate, not impede, the just resolution of Aboriginal claims.
Métis Nation Saskatchewan Vice President Michelle Leclerc says this is an important day for all Indigenous people in Saskatchewan going forward. In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court of Canada dismissed Saskatchewan's appeal that they failed to consult the MNS on 3 uranium exploration permits, where it had asserted Aboriginal title and rights. Friday morning, the court said the MNS was within their right to sue the province over this issue. The decision allows MNS to proceed with legal action begun in 2020 against the province over those permits. Hilary Peterson, head legal officer with MNS, says that with the appeal dismissed, there was hope to get a decision on the 2020 lawsuit.
We have waited several months for this decision, and we will wait for the court to provide their decision, but our hope is that it is coming in short order.
For Métis Nation Saskatchewan President Glenn McCallum, this win is a stepping stone towards reconciliation.
It's not about an individual like me or the vice president or our legal. It's about our government. All of us work together to be able to show our citizens that we can be trusted, that we will do the best for them.
McCallum says he is hopeful these issues can be resolved through partnerships to avoid litigation in the future.
So for me, I believe very strongly that the commitment is there from this government and our First Nations brothers and sisters to be able to get to that point of where we should be a long time ago.
Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
First Nations across Saskatchewan are looking to get into business. From the Cowessess First Nation partnership in a solar farm to Whitecap Dakota's Dunes new spa resort. And as CTV's Mick Favel tells us, Little Black Bear First Nation is adding to their gas station in Fort Qu'Appelle with charging for EV vehicles.
An historic day for Little Black Bear First Nation as they become one of the First Nations in Saskatchewan to offer charging stations for electric vehicles. Located on reserve land in Fort Qu'Appelle, those looking to charge up don't have to look far as the station can be seen from the main road. It's something Little Black Bear hopes interests locals and those visiting.
To be able to offer that service to people passing through the fort, people that live in the fort, or those ones that are coming for the recreational aspects of Fort Qu'Appelle, and in case they ever need their vehicles charged and have to get home, well, here we are. We have a charging station in Fort Qu'Appelle.
Roughly 3 years of planning has gone into getting the charging station set up and ready for use. A number of factors went into the decision, including the nation's carbon footprint, as well as any impacts of nearby waters and the environment.
Having our thought processes with, in line with Mother Earth and taking care of our lands and being stewards of the land. So I think that was one of the major things that was the contributing factors for us to move on with this project.
KW Petroleum has been a longtime partner of Little Black Bear First Nation, helping build their Petro-Canada gas station. Josh Ferguson says the EV charging installation is a special moment for the partnership as they continue to move towards sustainability.
It's energy, and it's about helping people get around. And I think that, us getting into installing EV chargers, we have a number of projects under our belt across the country now. And we're just happy to be involved in helping keep people moving, whichever way that will be.
As Little Black Bear moves towards going green, they hope other nations follow suit when planning and designing future projects, including the preservation of the land and water. Mick Favel, CTV News, Fort Qu'Appelle.
We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation with us. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, you can go to aptnnews.ca. And you can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. We have to take a short break, but when we return, we'll tell you about the One Family's big win in Cross Lake, Manitoba. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Driftpile Cree Nation in Alberta signed a service delivery agreement last Thursday with the federal government. Indigenous Services Canada will provide $16.4 million per year for the next 4 years and additional funding for infrastructure to support the Family Services Program. This will enable the nation to provide their own child and family services instead of the province of Alberta. Chief Labukan told APTN that it was a historic day.
We have always wanted to provide services and supports to our children and families, no matter where they are. This is a huge milestone for our nation. We have been careful to get this right, and the transition will take about a 12-month period. We are excited to take on this work, and it is all about our children. They are the foundation of our nation and our future.
And it was a big celebration out on the ice as people from across Canada gathered in Cross Lake, Manitoba to compete in Loretta's Ice Fishing Derby with $100,000 up for grabs. This past Saturday, people were out on the ice all day trying to catch the longest fish before the time was up. With only a couple minutes to spare, the Mississaugas family from Onion Lake, Saskatchewan won with this frantic run to the measuring table. The winning fish was 100 centimeters long, and the family took home the big $100,000 prize. There were 500 participants in this year's fishing derby, and some as far as Nova Scotia came to compete. The Derby has been an annual event since 2006, first started by Loretta Ross and her late sister Darlene Ross. Here's what Loretta had to say about the winning fish.
It was 4:59 and 30 seconds he got there, but it would have been still a winner because he pulled it out at 10-5. It was really exciting for him. I was really excited for him, you know.
Congrats to all the winners. We now want to tell you about our results of last week's web poll questions. Last week we asked, are you interested in learning the traditional language of your community? 68% voted yes, while 21% had voted no, and 11% said they already know their traditional language. Next we asked, do you think the Prime Minister's handling of Jody Wilson-Raybould and his handling of the SNC Lavalin case has had an impact on Indigenous representation in federal politics? 49% voted yes, 22% said no, and 29% were unsure. And lastly, we asked, do you think the federal government is doing enough to ensure food subsidies benefit northern residents? 15% thought enough was being done, but at 78% they thought there wasn't enough being done, and 7% were not sure. Thank you all to who all took the time to vote. Please check out aptnnews.ca for our latest questions. We have to take a short break. We have more stories when we come back. Stay with us. Starting on the East St. John's, -2, Charlottetown, -11. Cartwright, Sun in -14, Happy Valley, Goose Bay, -16. Gaspé, -11, Quebec City, -13. London, -1, Toronto, -1. Wawa, -1, Thunder Bay, -1. Puckatawagan, -2, Thompson, -6. 0 in Gimli, Dauphin, 0 as well. Regina, -5, Estevan, -4. Partly cloudy at Meadow Lake at -1, La Ronge, sun and -4. Snow in Fort Chipewyan at -2, Fort McMurray, -2. Medicine Hat, 2, Calgary, 4. 14 in Kamloops, Campbell River, 10. 5 in Fort Nelson, Smithers, 5. -13 in Old Crow, Mayo, -1. -5 in Fort Simpson, Yellowknife, -9. Sax Harbor, -20, Tuktoyaktuk, -22. Arviat, -21, Chesterfield, -19. And Arctic Bay, -21, Agulik, -20. Senator Mary Jane McCollum spent her career providing dental care to First Nations communities in northern Manitoba. On Thursday evening, she honored 19 First Nations and Métis individuals who've made significant contributions in their community with the King Charles III Coronation Medals. Sarah Bettens was at the ceremony and brings you more.
Inside each of you resides our spirit that continues to be a source of direction, faith, and wisdom for many. You are leaders, you are change agents, and today we celebrate and uphold you as individuals who have made life better.
Senator Mary Jane McCollum selected 19 First Nations and Métis individuals in Manitoba to receive a King Charles III Coronation Medal. From artists to nurses to land-based educators, their backgrounds are diverse. But collectively, McCollum says they've contributed over 1,000 years of service at the grassroots level. They received their medals on Thursday evening at Manitoba's Government House.
When our people were kept out, we always had the right to have to come here. And now, today, you are taking over that space, you're reclaiming it, and you celebrate.
Lorraine Daniels, who comes from Long Plain First Nation, was honored for her work as the Executive Director of the National Indigenous Residential School Museum.
The work that I've done is it's both personal and professional. I'm a survivor, and that really touches my heart that I'm working in a former residential school and is turned into a museum. So it was from a place of hurting to now to a place of healing.
Another awardee was Red River Métis community leader Lucille Bruce, who has spent 3 decades establishing initiatives for Indigenous women, children, and seniors in Winnipeg.
When I first started that work in the early 90s, there was such few culturally relevant programs and services in Winnipeg for Indigenous women and children. So I had the opportunity and the honor to establish amazing programs that provided supports in culturally relevant ways to a lot of Indigenous women and children in Winnipeg.
For Damon Johnson, the president and CEO of the Aboriginal Council of Winnipeg, giving back gives him purpose.
If I engage with younger people, I try to encourage them and think about, like, okay, so you've gone out, you've got a decent education, you got some kind of credentials. Think about how you might give back to your community.
Doris Bear rose from receptionist to health director of the Peguis First Nation. In that time, she witnessed how community leadership transformed the healthcare system.
We know our needs and wants, so we don't allow, like the federal government, Health Canada, or FINIB, like if you want to say, to tell us what to do. We know what we want. We know our own community needs.
The ceremony closed with drumming by Denny Cree awardee Victor Tazazi, joined by his father and son. As an artist, educator, and musician, his mission is helping the next generation learn and heal.
My teaching is to break that cycle and, that there's a better life and to do that is through our culture, through our getting back into our roots. Like I'm saying, I'm Dene. Now I know that I am Dene. I'm where there's no surface and then the earth. I'm a spiritual being becoming an earth being.
30,000 Canadians will receive King Charles III coronation medals, which are distributed by government officials and organizations to recognize outstanding individuals. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Congratulations to all the recipients. As the saying goes, children are our future, and their education is an important factor in their later success. A school division of northern and rural students in Manitoba says investing in a science fair in order to inspire their students is a no-brainer. Sav Jonza went to see if the event paid off.
Manitoba's Frontier School Division says investing in their students is their top priority.
We've always taken the perspective within our division that money is second and opportunity is first. So we want to ensure that we provide a really rigid and robust opportunity for our kids to learn.
Tasked with teaching students located throughout 75% of the province's landmass, Chief Superintendent Tyson McGilvery believes a division-wide science fair in Winnipeg is a great way for students to learn and grow their potential.
It provides them an opportunity to have an experience, engage at a very high level, meeting students from across the division, building that confidence and building their ability to say that I can do this. I'm not out of my wheelhouse. I am there with every other student across this province.
The 11th annual Frontier School Division Science Fair has turned out to be their largest, with 110 grades 4 to 12 students competing for awards and prizes. But the feelings of confidence are priceless.
I'm really thankful that I'm here and that I did all my hard work to get this poster up and have the strength to say all this stuff out to front of people that I've never met before.
Craig Hardesty and his project partner Raquel Bjork wanted to warn people about the effects of vaping. They found 55% of students in their high school vape. Grade 12 student Raquel hopes to become a nurse when she graduates.
I'll probably get into helping people who need medical care due to this, especially the elders, because they smoke and they probably have the most effect. And then, the younger ones will become older one day, so I'll have to help them one day too.
Students represent 39 communities and come from schools with populations as vast as 1,400 kids to just a dozen. It's their chance to win the opportunity to compete at the Canada-wide Science Fair in New Brunswick this June, where a student from this division won a silver medal last year. This is grade 9 student Annalie Walker's third science fair. She wants to become a science teacher.
Coming to science fair is a really fun experience, and I really do enjoy coming here every year because it's different every year.
Her water quality project partner, April Maristy, says the science fair shows her what's possible.
Because you can see all these other kids with good ideas, and you can see more and think of more what to do, Yeah, it really opens your mind.
McGilvery says getting all these students together in one place is no small feat, and thanks the St. Boniface Hospital Foundation for their financial help of roughly
Want to make sure that we provide as much opportunity for our rural and northern students as students in the southern half of the province have the opportunities to engage. So we don't look at barriers, we look at opportunities. And logistics is our middle name, and we move kids through planes, trains, automobiles, hovercrafts, you name it, we do it.
Sav Jonza, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Thank you, Sav. And that's your daytime newscast for this Monday, March 3rd. We're back again in a few hours for your evening newscast. Make sure to join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, hi miigwech masicho kwana. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next day.